Hey there, crypto traders. We've got a shift in momentum, a shift in sentiment, a shift in the headlines, a shift in price action. Daily trend change confirmed to the bulls. Does that mean our low is in? What do we look for from here? And what are we looking at in the altcoin space as it compares to Bitcoin? So as we check in here, if you didn't see the last video or if you don't remember it, it's worth going back and watching because there was a little bit of a sentiment shift in the air and the thumbnail was watch for a sentiment shift. I can't tell what the news is going to be. I can tell what the most likely scenario with price is going to be. And I know that the news and the sentiment is going to reflect what the price is doing. So now we have all these headlines coming out with Musk and we'll accept Bitcoin if we get 50% clean energy, blah, blah, blah. That has nothing to do with this price movement, in my opinion, whatsoever. It is an explainer reason. When you watch CNBC, they always have a reason that the market is going up or going down. That's not how markets work. That's not how trading in today's day and age works. You don't have to have a fundamental reason for price movement. So people attribute things to price movement. So is Musk's tweet the reason that we set a daily high or low and confirm the daily trend change? No. It doesn't mean anything, in my opinion, to Bitcoin, whether or not Tesla accepts it for their cars or not. So that's my opinion on it. But you see further sentiment shift. You got, who was it? Was it Peter Thiel? A billionaire saying that they want 5% allocation in cryptocurrency as part of diversification. That was definitely positive news this morning. But again, all of that for me is completely secondary to what the price is doing. And we had a clear daily inverse head and shoulders setup. And what else was key about the video from last week was the signs of the sentiment shift going on in the crypto miner stocks and how that, for me, it made me more bullish, talking about crypto being more bullish for the rest of June because of what Riot and MARA were doing. So this is our inverse head and shoulder. This is our daily confirmed trend change of Bitcoin with our higher low of 34.6. Now our most important daily support level. We broke resistance of 38.4 and we took out all the daily lower high resistances from the last 3 weeks. What does that mean? That means anybody that has shorted in the last 3 weeks is now underwater if they have not covered yet. Just looking at Riot and MARA as we're talking about them, it was the 2-day higher low that we were looking for. Confirm the 2-day trend change for the first time since the high, and MARA doing the same thing. So right now, the price in these miners is reflecting the action of Bitcoin over the weekend, but they started to show us strength before Bitcoin did on the daily timeframes. So what do we look for from here? Daily trend change confirmed. What does it mean? It means we zoom out and scout a weekly lower high. And we look at the size of the bounce to determine what is the most likely scenario from here. So the last weekly lower high was 59.6 thousand. We have our low. And right now we are at our 382 retracement. And we are at the EMA backtest of resistance. If this is as much follow through as we see for the bulls, it's a potential weekly bear flag. We can't disregard that as a possibility. We would have to see the bears show up pretty much for the rest of the week to control it from here. It's possible. Be aware of it. If the bulls see continued follow through and the daily uptrend continues with higher lows and higher highs, and we get up to the 50% retracement in the 44,000s, that's going to increase the probabilities that the next time we consolidate, we set another weekly higher low compared to 31,000. So the amount of follow through we see from right here is going to be key. It doesn't have to happen today, but if we were to lose the 4-hour uptrend from here, it would be small red flag number 1 for the potential of a weekly bear flag. If we lose the daily higher lows from here, it's a big red flag for the potential of a weekly bear flag. So I don't think it's going to be a weekly bear flag, but it is still a possibility. One more catalyst for the bulls is the fact that I'm forgetting names today. Michael Saylor is looking to buy $500 million in Bitcoin potentially this week. And we had information, again, two different headlines coming out of Michael Saylor. One headline, we just bought X million dollars of Bitcoin. A second headline, we are going to buy X million dollars of Bitcoin. As soon as it has been announced and the buying has not happened yet, people front run his buying. And they make entries and it begins to start to price in. So if he is going to be buying, who knows how he's going to do it? Is he going to do OTC, or is he going to do it how he's done it in the past with buys every minute or second, or however he did it with automated buying? If he buys on the open market with automated buying, it's going to help this move get follow through. And if I'm holding a giant bag of crypto and I can help that giant bag, I'm buying on the open market personally. And I don't care if I'm paying a little bit of a higher price than I could potentially get on the OTC, because it's making my bag go up as well if I am helping drive the price up and helping push this bounce to the 50% retracement level to avoid a weekly bear flag. So again, news and headlines, yes, they have an impact. Yes, automated trading reacts to them. Yes, some of them are very noteworthy, but lots of them are not. And this last one out of Musk means nothing in my opinion. So Bitcoin, a little bit extended. Hourly uptrend still very clear. Hourly EMA 12. If we lose hourly EMA 12 and the uptrend, we zoom out and it's got a 4-hour higher low. We're due for 4-hour consolidation. It's been a higher low every single candle for the last 9 candles, which is 36 hours. And if that pattern breaks, we'll look for a 4-hour higher low. When we're in the middle of a shift and the bull move is on, we want to know, what does oversold conditions, what is the response? So we've already seen 5-minute oversold conditions hit from this bull break. And what did it lead to? Another leg up, which is a great sign overall. So here we are just hitting 5-minute oversold again, and the bounce is getting some follow through. So the bulls don't want to see 5-minute oversold, bear flag, and then drop to a lower low. This shows us, if we keep seeing 5-minute oversold marking our hourly higher lows, it shows us there are bulls continuing to buy dips, which is obviously something the bulls want to see continue to try and see follow through on this move. The dominance chart is keeping the Bitcoin bulls in control. 4867 is a key level. Let's condense it down a little bit. This is let's go to the 3-day chart. I'm finding a lot of clarity on the 3-day chart for alt BTC pairings. And same for the dominance chart here. Low, high, higher, low. Question is, do we break 4867 or do we reject and continue tightening up within this range? That is the $1 million question for altcoin traders for the rest of this week. So we're keeping an eye on the 4-hour uptrend. Notable consolidation, but V-shaped recovery right to the higher high. Have to lose the 4-hour higher lows as step 1 for the potential of a 3-day lower high being set. And as we go through these altcoins, you'll see why this 3-day time frame is key on so many names. My personal exposure, I have not been really confident in the Bitcoin bulls. That being said, after the miners gave me a little bit more confidence, my probability needle was 50%. And then from the last video, my probability needle shifted to the bulls a little bit. So that allowed me to establish positions, but they're not sizable positions because I didn't have a lot of confidence. That being said, if you go 10% in Bitcoin, it's definitely going to be worthwhile. So I initially grabbed Ethereum before the altcoin dump and the dominance on Bitcoin got real significant. And we didn't stop out. We didn't hit my level to stop out, but it was clear, okay, get some exposure in Bitcoin as well. So I did add some Bitcoin, forget exactly where, but I believe it was in the upper 37s perhaps, rings a bell. Either way, I've got swing size position in both Bitcoin and ETH, and that has put my crypto trading account back to all-time highs with this most recent move. But I will bail on a weekly lower high, and I'll give a lot of wiggle room because it's a smaller position. I'm going to make the bears prove it to me that a weekly lower high has been set. Otherwise, I'm going to let this trade ride as long as I can. So ETH USD, clearly weaker than Bitcoin, and the pattern that I've been watching was the 3-day or 2-day, either one, equilibrium. So we didn't break 2182, so even though ETH was clearly showing me I'm weaker than Bitcoin, I didn't exit because my level wasn't hit. So I reacted to that information in other ways, but didn't exit the bull position. So we held support, and now we're looking back up at resistance of 2890, and anything under 2890 is just a lower high. It's entirely possible that ETH stays within this range for another week plus. We can set a lower high and then pull back for another little higher low. So 2-day equilibrium, still crystal clear, and that's what I am watching on ETH. ETH BTC, weekly lower high, very clearly set. Let's see if the 3-day is clear. So this is what most of the altcoins look like, just at different points in the chart, but it's a high, a big drop to a low, a big bounce to a lower high, and now we're scouting a 3-day higher low, just like we're scouting a Bitcoin dominance 3-day lower high. Is that going to form? Maybe. I think it's more likely to form, but it's entirely possible it does not. So we need to see step number 1, a 4-hour trend change back to the bulls on alt BTC pairings. Step number 1 for a 3-day higher low trying to form. We had a great bounce, plenty of space for a higher low to form, and we just faded and gave it all back. So that has to change. 4-hour trend changes have to happen for any kind of momentum shift. We can be watching. Nah, I don't like that. Let's just watch the 4-hour trend. Have to change it. Anything under 6818 is just a lower high. And once we top out on the move, have to set the higher low and higher high for us to say, okay, this time it's different because that has not happened since our 3-day lower high has been set. Theta USDT stands out as a lead bull overall, the weekly time frame. Notable bounce over a 50% retracement from the last lower high. Plenty of space for a weekly higher low next time we top out. Weekly inside bar last week. We're still within it this week. But it's the BTC pairing that is stronger than peers. Because if you pull up the 3-day chart, many names are in tightening ranges. And yes, we did reject from a double top at resistance, but we're still clearly setting a 4-hour higher low, or I should say a 3-day higher low, where many alts are setting a 3-day lower high. So we are going to view this as a double top, and the bulls do have a 4-hour uptrend on the BTC pairing. It would clearly be a red flag to us if we were to confirm a daily downtrend from here. That would be a clear signal that Theta, which has been a stronger bull compared to the BTC, that is changing if we confirm a daily bear flag. And this is a daily bear flag at this point in time. It's a possibility. So just something to keep an eye on if you're a Theta bull. BNB USDT weekly time frame. Is this a lower high being set? If the inside bar breaks bearish, yes. Inside bar last week, still within it this week. Daily time frame doesn't have a ton of clarity for me, but I can see that we held 319, and if we were to break 379, it would be a notable little higher low and higher high. And right now, that's pretty much a double bottom and a double top at those levels. 3-day time frame on the BTC pairing. Tons of space for the higher low, which is why, in my opinion, the higher low is the more likely scenario. So if you are an altcoin trader and you are looking bullish, you are watching for 4-hour trend changes to try and shape up for 3-day higher lows. And just like ETH, we had a great bounce and 0 follow through. The 4-hour trend changes are very important for us to see a shift. Otherwise, no shift is happening. LTC USD, we'll do Sushi in a second. So LTC USD, daily higher low and bull break of 175 is a little shift in momentum. So the weekly perspective, higher low trying to form just like Bitcoin did, and now the bulls need to follow through, and the LTC BTC chart is looking for a 3-day higher low in this long, wide potential equilibrium. 4-hour trend change needed. Big bounce. We've had plenty of big bounces with no trend change follow through every time. Have to see something different with the 4-hour trend change. So if you are an altcoin bull and you're looking for rotation of profits of Bitcoin into altcoins, 4-hour trend changes are needed. So Sushi is a good example of being a lead bear, and it's been a lead bear for a while now. We came right down towards those lows of 629, and we are still in a tightening 3-day pattern on the US dollar pairing, but the BTC pairing is where we saw all this weakness. Look at it, just waterfall drop after the 3-day lower high was set. We made it all the way back down towards this support. That being said, that doesn't mean there's not bullish trades to be had on oversold bounces. So this morning I was going through my routine of looking at all the major coins, BTC pairings, who's standing out stronger, who's standing out weaker, who has a 4-hour trend change. And just on that note, and we'll talk about that in a second, because there are coins that have 4-hour uptrends on their BTC pairings to be keeping an eye on. But Sushi was just a name that had bears in complete control. And what did we see? We saw a bear break of a lower low on the 4-hour time frame, failing to change the trend just like everybody else, but there was a lack of any bear follow through, which means scout a falling wedge. So I was just pointing out this falling wedge first thing this morning and then going about my business, getting ready for the stock trading day. So I didn't trade this, but other people did. And it was just a beautiful big volume spike, 1 hour falling wedge bull break. Am I expecting Sushi to make a huge move against Bitcoin? No, this is just a short-term signal that can be made, that a trade can be made off of. Is this our 3-day high or low being set? Maybe. A lot more follow-through is needed. But again, just an example of positioning based on a short-term pattern. And the way that I would trade that would be, let's see, that bull break took place on the BTC pairing at 9 a.m. And at that point in time, bull break really 880 and 889 was a signal. So if I were in that trade, I would be selling partial into strength, lowering my break even on that position, and then trying to give the bulls a chance to follow through a bit. Maybe that is our Sushi BTC 3-day high or low, and I have a great entry for it. So I could sell half a position, put my stop at break even, and try and let it play out a little bit more. There are coins that have BTC pairings in 4-hour uptrends. It's not a strong 4-hour uptrend, but it was a higher low and higher high for AAVE BTC. Just something to keep an eye out because, again, everybody's looking for these 3-day higher lows. But we have to see follow through and we have to see dominance. We want to see the dominance show weakness as well because even if it's just 1 or 2 altcoins that are doing it, it's a lot more convincing and confident for bulls if it's the whole altcoin space doing it. So if I'm looking for 3-day higher lows on altcoin BTC pairings, I need to see the dominance chart lose its 4-hour uptrend. All right, so I'm not planning on making any trades anytime soon. I was not aggressive because I am most aggressive on flushes and free fall oversold bounces. There was a play for a higher low, absolutely. A lot of traders got that. And I built some small anti-FOMO positions during that consolidation. But at this point, I'm not going to be entering on strength. Why am I not entering on strength? Because weekly lower high is the most likely scenario, and I don't like risk to reward of entering on bull breaks. So I have all the exposure that I'm going to get anytime soon, and if I'm going to make another bullish entry, for me personally, it will be after a big enough bounce with follow-through that I anticipate a weekly higher low is the most likely scenario. And on weekly higher lows, I'll look to do the same thing. Swing size position and look for some entries for the potential of a monthly higher low forming, which is what growth names have been doing in the stock world, and it's what our miners are attempting to do. And again, NIO is the best example. Biotech sector. Everybody's trying to do it. Broader market's real strong. Fear striking the broader market would affect Bitcoin. We have to be aware of what the broader market is doing. There is a 4-hour rising wedge on this pattern that is just now breaking bearish on the S&P 500 futures, but the only thing that will happen in the markets that I care about as with regards to Bitcoin is if we see healthcare, tech sector, and financial sector all at the low of the day and dumping at the same time. If that's not happening, it's rotation and it's healthy. If that is happening, it's fear, and that will impact Bitcoin. So that's, if you want to break it down as simply as possible, what should I be aware of in the stock market for potential impact on Bitcoin? It's those 3 sectors at the lows at the same time. Because what we've been seeing for months is financial sector drops, tech sector up, healthcare sector up, tech sector consolidates. They're all just doing this game. Shifting turns, tag teaming to keep the bulls in control. So that's something to be aware of as far as fear entering the broader market in stocks, but only if those 3 sectors are all dropping at the same time. Let's see if the bulls can get us to the 50% retracement, 44,000 plus. 50% retracement on the weekly bounce. We got an hourly uptrend. If it's lost, we got a 4-hour higher low to be watching for. If it's lost from here, it's a red flag. So bulls definitely want more follow through from here. I will gain more confidence if we set a 4-hour higher low and then head to a new high of the bounce. Let's see how that sentiment shifts continues. More positive headlines. What, India's not going to ban crypto now? And who knows? It's all just related to price. Sentiment and headlines, for the most part, lag price. There are definitely headlines that lead price, but it is few and far between. Do good things. I appreciate you watching. Have a good rest of your Monday. Some magnolia blooming. This is the fig tree that lived in my room over the winter in a pot, and it took nicely. So in another 5 years, that'll be a big 15-foot tall guy. Many would say these bushes need to be trimmed, but I like how they flow down and look like water coming over the wall. So this is where all those tulips were early in the spring, and people were talking about concerns about the erosion and all those bare spots, and this just shows you what a temperate rainforest does in 6 weeks of spring and summer. Got some zinnia progress and some flowering comfrey. But these zinnias will be all along the driveway. They should get 4 to 5 feet tall by the end of the summer.